DOM manipulations. Manipulations. That means JavaScript have to take control over HTML. JavaScript have to take control over HTML and make HTML more dynamic. So then, how JavaScript can handle HTML? How JavaScript can refer HTML? So how it can handle HTML element? That means various methods of accessing HTML elements. So what are the various methods of accessing HTML elements? So and use those HTML elements. So that means let's see one simple point here. So I'm creating a new page here. Yeah. So technically, yesterday we discussed what is strict mode, how to keep JavaScript from external files and all these things. Now, so suppose we are designing a document. So head, some title, reference. In the body section, we have an image. And so we have another form. So in the form we have name and input type is equal to text, and we have input type is equal to button. Actually, you can see here we are having several elements. We have an image, we have button, we have text. So we have options in this side. Image, I defined width and the height and border. So image is like this. This is image. Now the concept is I want JavaScript to take control over HTML. So I want JavaScript to put a picture inside that img. That means dynamically we want to put a picture into it. So we want to put a picture into that image. And see, button, text box is okay, button is empty. I want some value inside that button. Generally, so JavaScript have to refer those elements and use those elements. It has to access and use those elements. JavaScript needs to access those elements. Then how JavaScript can access these elements? How it can manage these elements? Let's see. So we are writing. So here body. When body loads, we have to write an event onload. Onload indicates what should happen when body load. When body loads, I am writing a function here, body load. Remember, this body load function is our own function. We can give any name. You can give any name. I just given just body load. That means when body loads, it will call this function. So let's write the function. I am writing a script. In the script function, the function name is body load. Okay, so when body loads, this function will be called. It is a JavaScript function that fires up when the page is loaded. Okay, when page is loaded, I want JavaScript to access this img element. I wanted to access that IMG element and put a picture inside it. Currently, it is not having any picture. I want JavaScript to put a picture into it. Then the question is how JavaScript can access HTML elements. So that means how JavaScript can access HTML elements. How JavaScript can access HTML elements. There are several techniques. First one is by using DOM hierarchy. So it can follow the DOM hierarchy. So already in HTML, I given you DOM. What is DOM? I told you. You can see this is the DOM, document object model. This is the document object model. This is the DOM hierarchy. Now, according to this DOM hierarchy, it can access and use it. Now here the point is, what is this DOM hierarchy? What is the concept of this DOM hierarchy actually? So generally, you see in the DOM hierarchy, image, you can observe image is present here. This is images. Image is present here. And images are present in document. It is present in document. And the document is present in window. Window is the parent. So in window, we have a document. In document, we have images. And images is given in a square brace. That means it is an array. It is a collection of images. And you can access by using the index number like 0, 1, 2, like this. So according to this hierarchy, JavaScript can use this hierarchy. And it can access the elements. This is the DOM hierarchy. So then according to this hierarchy, how it can access the elements? See, I want to access the picture. Then according to the DOM, so the first parent is window. When body loads, in window, we have document. In document, we have images. And images is a collection. Currently in our document, only one image is there. Then its index number will be 0. So this is how you can refer the image inside document. And in that image, I want to put a source, then .src. Source is equal to what is the image? Some images / some shoe.jpg. I am keeping that image. Now you can see that. So you can see that JavaScript will access that image and put an image dynamically. When I see that, you can see image is there here dynamically. So how JavaScript can refer HTML elements, how it can access HTML elements, that is important. JavaScript can access HTML elements, can refer the HTML elements by using DOM hierarchy. That is one technique, DOM hierarchy. Now, according to this DOM hierarchy, how I can access a button now? You see, I need to access here button. I want to put a value for button. Then according to the DOM hierarchy, you can see that according to the DOM hierarchy, button is present here. So actually button is in elements. Button is an element, checkbox is an element, file is an element, all these are elements. There is nothing like order. All are elements only, button elements only, all are button elements only. So in elements are present in forms. and forms are present in document. Document is present in window. That is the hierarchy. So the parent is window. In that window, we have a document. In the document, we have forms. Forms is again array. That means there can be multiple forms. And in the forms, again, we have elements. There can be multiple elements. So according to this hierarchy, according to that hierarchy, you can see that according to that hierarchy. So here I can write like this: window dot document dot forms. Currently in our page, we have only one form. There can be many forms. So then the first form, its index number is 0. Okay. In the form, we have elements. And elements, you can see two elements are there inside the form. One is text box, another one is button. We have two elements, text box and button. Now you can see here, so to access the button, button index number is 1. That means elements of 1. Elements of 1. So it is a button. Usually button have a property called value. Value is equal to, suppose I say it submit. Now save this. Automatically that value will be applied here. You can see submit is applied here. So how JavaScript can take control over HTML? So JavaScript can take control over HTML. So by using DOM hierarchy. What is problem in this DOM hierarchy? The problem in DOM hierarchy is you are accessing every element by its index numbers. That is the problem. Why? Because suppose later I changed the position of this element, or I added one more element. Suppose I removed the button from here and kept the button before the text box. Now button index number changed to 0. Then automatically you can see that. So this will misplace the title. That means whenever you change the position of button, you have to change its index number also here. Now you should say that elements of 0. So now it will apply for the button. Again, I am moving this button from here and keeping it here. Then again problem. Again, we have to change the index number 1. This is very risky. That means whenever the position of element changed, you have to change the index number in the logic. This is risky. But this is the native method how JavaScript can understand HTML elements. So this is the fastest method actually. It may look lengthy, but this is native. Why native? Because JavaScript can understand HTML in this way only. It can understand in a DOM way. But this is risky for developer. Why? Because as a developer, if we use these DOM references, then later if we change the position, the index number we need to update every time. That is very risky. So in that case, what we can do is, you can use another technique. You can refer and access by using name. By using name. JavaScript can access elements by using name. Actually, every HTML element can have a name. So for example, I will remove this now. Okay. When I remove this, it is removed now. Okay. Every element can have a name. For example, for image, I am giving name as pic. For text box, for form, I will give name as FRM register. For button, for text box, I am giving name as txt name. Any name we can give. So for button, I am giving the name as btn submit. So we given names. So we given names. We given names here. We are configuring the names. So we are defining the names, right? So JavaScript can use these names and access the elements. Can use the names and access the elements. The point is, so it can access and use the names. Access and use the names. So, but the problem here is, let's see how it can access and use the names. That means how it can do that. So here on body load, this time directly the image name is pic.src is equal to images slash some shoe.jpg, and you can see that image is working now. So you can see image is working now. That's great. That is very simple. You can access by name, but name have problem. Problem is already we discussed about name. One problem is same name can be given for several elements. If same name is given for several elements, it will affect everywhere. That is one general issue already we learned. Same name can be given for multiple elements. So that is the general thing we have learned. Another problem is when you are referring any element by name and that element is a child element. Child element means suppose a list item in an ordered list, a table cell in table row, or an option in select. Child item. For example, you see button. Button is a child element of form. It is an form is parent and button is child, and button name is btn submit. That means here I'm accessing btn submit dot value is equal to submit. I want to give submit as value, but you can observe here that it is unable to apply that value for button. Why? Because when you are referring to name and that element is not directly a DOM element, it is a child element, then without referring its parent element, you cannot access the child element. That means it is mandatory that you have to access the parent element also every time. You have to refer to the parent and child, both of them. That means now button is present as a child element inside this form. Then without referring the form, you cannot access this button. You have to refer the form also. That means here I have to refer frm register dot btn submit dot value. That means you have to refer to the button. So inside that particular form, we have to refer to the button inside the form and access. Parent element is mandatory. Now you can see that it is working fine. So what is good and what is bad? What is good is now you change the position of button. It doesn't matter. You change the position of button and wherever it will go, it will use that name. You don't need to update here anything because you are not using index numbers. So you change the position, you can access it. You can access it correctly. But problem is you cannot access the child elements directly. So, and another problem is same name can be given for multiple elements. Then a lot of issues will come. So that is the reason. So it may not suit every situation. It may not suit every situation. It will not suit every situation. There is nothing like which one is best. Already we know that. Why? Because it depends on the situation and requirement. So for certain situations, it is good. For certain situations, it's not good, depending on requirements. So you can refer by using name also. And how to refer by using name. This is the method. You give a name for it. Now another technique is you can refer by using ID. You can refer by using ID. So that means every element can have an ID. What is advantage of ID is you already know ID must be unique. So it must be unique. That means same ID elements cannot be there inside the page. So it must be unique. So another advantage of ID is ID allows you to access any element directly without referring to the parent element. You can access the child element directly. So without referring to the parent, you can access the child element directly. That is another advantage of this ID selector. So how we can access by using ID? For that we have to use a method document.getElementById. Element by ID. So this is the method used to access the elements by using ID. So that means what you can do now. I will remove this here. Okay. I will and currently they are removed. Okay. Now for every element I am using an ID. You already know that element can have ID, name, class, all of them. So ID is pick. Okay. Form is also having an ID. Some FRM register. And text box is having an ID, TXT name. Button is having an ID as BTN submit. Now I want to access them and use them and display here. So then simple. Here we can use document.getElementById. Remember, JavaScript is case sensitive, means capitalization matters. So when we are writing the functions and methods, so we have to write exactly in the case how it supports. Capitalization matters here. So get element by ID. What is the ID? Pick. So this is referring to image. Then image have src. I will keep src. So dot images slash some shoe dot jpg. And you can see that. You can see image is applied here. I want to access button and directly I can access the button get element by ID btn submit. And it is a button. Button will have value. And button value is some submit, and it can access the button. It can access the button, and you can see that you are not referring to the form directly. You are accessing the button. So this is better. This is better. But remember, depending on situation. Why? Because many times when you are using name, you don't need to write all this document get element by ID. For you can use both combination depending on situation. Suppose I want to access the pick, then instead of using this get element by ID, directly I can use pick.src. I can use pick.src. That means one element I can refer by name, another element I can refer by ID. It's our wish. So we can do in any way. So this is better for pick. If it is present in somewhere a lengthy hierarchy, then that means parent-child hierarchies lengthy are there. Then better you can go with element by ID, get element by ID. Right? So you can access the elements by using the ID, For that we can use the function get element by ID. You can also access elements by using tag name. You can also access the elements by using class name. You can also access the elements by using a common name. So you can access the elements in several ways. So you can access the elements by using tag name. For that we have a function called document dot get elements by tag name, get elements by tag name. Remember this get elements, wherever you see the plural word, that means it is going to return more than one. That means it is going to return an collection, a array actually. So later you are going to understand about arrays and all, but actually this returns an array. It returns an array. Suppose here in this here, I want to know how many divs are used. I want to know how many divs are used. Then just I can write document dot get elements by tag name, and tag name is div. That means it will return the collection of all the divs present inside the page. So actually this is going to return. So this is going to return the collection of all divs. Then I will store this in a x variable, Later you will learn about variables and all. Currently you can directly write x. That means x contains collection of all divs. Then I will put a simple alert. In the alert I will say total number of divs. How many divs are present? Total number of divs. How many divs are present? So x dot length is to find out the count, how many are there. So length. It will return the total count, and you can see it says that. So I will refresh here. Total number of divs 2. It says that there are 2 divs inside your page. So get element by tag name. How many images are present? I can write img, and the total number of images, and length will return the length count. Then you can see total number of images 1. It shows total number of images 1. So it is able to access and display. So total count. So you can access by using tag name also. Tag name. So that means many times we want to know how many images, how many forms, how many buttons. Then you cannot access by ID or name. So you can directly access the elements by using tag name also. So for that we have a method tag name. You can access the elements by using class name also. Class name. So for example, you can access by using the class name. For example, suppose we have a style. In that we have a class called effects. Effects is a class. In that effects class, so background color is yellow. Now I will apply this effects class to the first div. So class as effects. I apply to that first div. To the first div it is applied. I am applying for button also. So class button class as effects. So that means button is also having that effect. Now I want to know how many elements are using the class called effects. That means how many elements are using that CSS effect. You can easily access that. What you can do is, here you can write x is equal to document dot get elements by class name. Which class? So effects class. We are looking for effects class. Then alert, I will put x dot length. That means how many elements are using that class called effects. And you can see that it will show 2. That means 2 elements are using the class called effects. So this is returning a collection actually. So tag name, class name, because it can be used by multiple, it is going to return the collection. And to know how many are present, you are using the length property actually. So suppose, so the text box is
Hello.
also using the class called effects. It is also
Yes.
using the class effects. Then it will say
No,
3.
coach.
Then it will say 3. That means it is going to use the 3. So technically, this is to understand how many elements are using the specific class name. ID, we have name, we have DOM hierarchy. We can also
Hello.
access by using common name. We
Tell.
can also access by using common name. Sometimes
Ma
elements
ID
have a
क्या से?
common name. For example, see here. So we are designing. Here we are designing a field set
ना
and
कौन
a legend.
ना कौन
And I
खाई थी वो
said
सर?
here as a, suppose payment
यार ना
payment
देखिए बड़ा बड़ी
methods.
दिया.
And here I am using a div. So a div.
अजीबो के बे?
So and here we have input type is
हाँ?
equal to radio. And
12 तारीख.
this is having a name called check.
ने.
So and here we say check. And input type is equal to radio. And the name is equal to CC. So I will just put as credit card. Credit card. Okay. Another input type is equal to radio. And its name. Actually, all the names will be same actually. So this is pay. Pay is the name. Because you know that radios must have a common name. So pay is the common name. And here also pay. So value can be different. Value can be different. Okay, pay. And here I say some UPI, something. Now you see, so here this is here the text boxes we are having. So let's save this. Okay. And on load we will remove this. Okay. And you can see initially it is displaying this. Now I want to know how many radios are there for payment methods. That means how many elements are there which have a common name called pay. I want to know that. Then we can just use x is equal to document dot get elements by name, get elements by name. That means it will access the elements that are using the common name. And what name? Pay. Get elements which are using the name called pay. It will get the elements which are using the name called pay. And I will just put an alert. So total number of payment methods, and I will put x dot length. So total number of payment methods, it says 3. It says total number of payment methods 3. That means it will return how many are using the same name. So in JavaScript, the first important point you have to learn is how to refer the HTML elements, how to access the HTML elements. So because we have to manipulate the elements, then we must first able to access the elements. So it depends on situation and the requirement. There is nothing like which one is best out of all these. So it is completely depending on situation. Sometimes we don't have parent child directly one element is present, then better use name. It is more shorter. But if you have parent child, you want to refer the element directly, then better you can go with ID selector. Sometimes you have a common name and you want to access it, then better to go with get element by name. Sometimes you want to know how many elements are using the same class, then you can access by class name. You can use class name, you can use tag name, so you can refer according to your requirements. So you cannot ask like which one is used mostly, that you decide according to the situation. That is the point here. These are all the methods how JavaScript can access HTML elements. So various examples, DOM, name, all these examples I will give you in the note. You can go through that. So that means whatever I showed you in the example, I will give you in the notes. You can go through that. Now, once we know how JavaScript can access the elements, now the next important point is when JavaScript is accessing the elements, the next point is how JavaScript controls the input and output activities. How JavaScript controls the input and output activities. How it manages the input and output activities. In every programming language, input and output handling is very important because especially when you are dealing with any programming language, the main purpose of programming language is handling interaction with the user. That means user will input a value, it will process that input, it will generate an output and render the output back to you. So this process is very regular. This process is very regular. So in JavaScript, how input and output are handled, we have to know about that. Let's see first how output is handled. How output is handled in JavaScript. What are the various methods for output? What are the various methods for output? That means to display any value to user, where I can show the value. What are the various output techniques available in JavaScript? Actually, in JavaScript, so to handle output, so we can use alert, so we can use conform, so conform, so we can use document.write, document.write. We can use so console log, so console debug, so console warn, console error. So many console methods are present. You can use them. Console info. All these are console methods. We can use the options like inner HTML. We can use the option like outer HTML. Outer HTML. We can use inner text. Inner text. These are all important options which are used for presenting the output. Which are used for presenting the output. Let's see what is difference between them. What is the difference between them? So alert, conform, document, write. What are these output functions? Let's see an example for that. So I will create a new file, some outputs.html. Okay, let's design here. So a option doc type HTML header and the title. And here I said output. Okay. In the body section, here I have a button called delete. Delete. Now, generally on delete button click, I want some functionality to happen. On delete button click, I want some functionality to happen. So that means I want to show some output on delete click. So
कौन है था
clicks the delete button. When button is your message in a message box. But the problem with the alert is you cannot cancel it. So you cannot cancel this alert box. So I am writing here alert. I will put a message. Record will be deleted. Record will be deleted. So, and are you sure? Are you sure? This message I'm giving. Now see what happens is alert is expecting some message and I will refresh here and click delete. It says record will be deleted. Are you sure? No, I don't want to delete. I want cancel. There is no cancel. You see, there is no cancel button, no event button. Only OK is present. Sometimes you may think like we can press escape key. Even you press escape key is equal to OK. That means don't think that escape is cancelling. Equal to OK. Escape is equal to OK. So don't think that escape is cancelled actually. It is equal to OK. It is equal to OK. So when to use generally when to use this option, that means when to use this alert. So when you want to display a message, generally when you want to display a message and that message requires a mandatory confirmation, because observe carefully, so without confirming this message, that means without clicking OK, you can't continue. That means sometimes what happens is we are trying to show some message inside the page. If I am trying to show message inside the page, somewhere in the page the message will display and user is not noticing it. User is not noticing that message and he is trying to submit again and again, but it is not submitting. So this situation comes regularly. We are submitting a form, it is not submitting. So somewhere problem is there. I am unable to identify the problem immediately because lot of content is there. I have to scroll and verify. But if I put an alert, then it is good, so that a pop-up will come and he cannot continue without confirming it. So once you click OK, then it is confirmed. But for such situations, this alert is okay. But the problem is you cannot cancel. So if you want to give a choice that he can even cancel that, then better what you can do is we can use instead of alert, we can use confirm. Confirm is same like alert box, but it provides an option to cancel. It provides an option to cancel. You observe now, I click on delete button. Now confirm is same like alert, but you see there is a cancel button. But remember, currently cancel button is not working. So you click cancel, it is equal to OK only. You may think like it is cancelled, but is actually it is equal to OK. You click OK, you click cancel, both are working same. For that we have to write a logic actually. So when you are using this confirm boxes, OK will return true and cancel will return false. That means this confirm box is going to return true and false on OK and cancel click. That means the result of this confirm I stored in X. So that means the result of this confirm is stored in X. So if user clicks OK, X will be true. If user clicks cancel, X will be false. So I will write a condition. If X equal to true, then I will put a message alert. So record deleted. This message will come. Else, if X is not true, else alert, I will put a message as cancelled. Cancelled. I will put this message cancelled. I will put the message cancelled. That is the option. I will just use the option cancel. Cancel. And you see now here what happens is I click on delete. I click OK, then it says record deleted. I click on cancel, then it says cancel. That means now we have two functionalities to manage. On click one functionality, on cancel another. OK one functionality, cancel another. So confirm is better when we want to provide a message which can be cancelled. provide a message which can be cancelled. So for a confirm box. Alert box cannot be cancelled. Cannot be cancelled. So that is two important box we have a confirm. Document.write. Document.write is nothing but it prints the output in a new screen, not on a new page. It prints output on a new screen. That means I want to show the output on a new screen so that user is not confused. Because whenever you are displaying messages inside existing page along with other contents, then it is little bit confusion. Then what we can do is instead of here alert, I am using document.write record deleted. So then see what will happen now. When user clicks delete, I click cancel, it will show an alert cancelled. Okay. When I click OK, then record deleted, that message will be displayed on a new screen. On a new screen, it will show. Remember, not on a new page. You see, currently you are in the same page. Our page name is output.html. Page name is output.html. But when you click here, this is output.html. So, but when you refresh this, the same page will come. Same page will come. Only the output is displayed on a new screen temporarily. Output is displayed on a new screen temporarily. So you can see that output is displayed on a new screen temporarily. When I refresh the page, that output will be gone. That is good because sometimes whenever you want to show some message, if you try to show the message along with other contents, then user cannot notice it properly. So better you keep on a new screen so that you can manage by using document.write. We have .log, console log, console debug, console warn, console error, console info, so many are there. You can use any one of them. But actually these are not for client, these are for developers. Generally, we don't prefer this for client presentation, we prefer this for developers. When we are testing and we are developing application, some messages we want to identify and we want to display. So, and console will display all the messages in debugger. In debugger, it will display all the messages in debugger actually. It will display all the messages in the debugger. So you can see here, you can see console, suppose see, many times this we use for testing. When we are doing some testing and we want some messages to display, is that action successfully completed or not, we need to verify them. Then we can use console. See, complete click. I will write here console.log request for delete. That is the first stage. Request for delete. Okay. If it is true, that means they clicked OK. Then console., I will give an option here as console.info. So request clicked OK. Clicked OK. Or I'll say console.warn. That means warning. Clicked OK. When they clicked cancel and record deleted. So record deleted. I will give error style. And cancelled, I will say console.warn. Warn is a warning style. I will just put as a cancelled. This message. Now observe carefully here. So these messages, console log, console error, console warn, these messages are not displayed in the page. I click on delete. So you see record will be deleted. Okay, deleted. But those messages are not displayed here. You can observe carefully. You can go to debugger. In the debugger, you will find console. So those messages will come inside this console. Observe carefully. I click on delete. Then are you sure you want to delete? I said okay. Then you see request for delete and clicked OK. So this console error will show that in a error style. Suppose I clicked refresh again. I click delete. I click cancel. OK, cancelled. Then it shows in a error warning style. Warning style. That means these kind of messages are very much used by developer to show the result of testing. That means these many warnings are there, these many errors are there, these many errors are there. So these are very important for a developer to monitor and display in testing. And while testing, he can display those messages and show those messages in the console. So this is for developers. This is for developer. So generally I click on delete, again request for delete, okay, it is deleted. It will track all the activities user is performing and it can keep you all the information. And when you are displaying messages, you can display in an error style, you can display in an warning style, you can display in an info style, you can display in different styles. Actually, debug, warn, error, info, these are all different styles. All are displayed in the console only. Colors will change, icons will change when they are displaying actually. For that, we use this console, right? Another important option we have inner HTML and inner text. Then we will see later outer HTML, how it works. So what is inner HTML? So, and what is inner text? Suppose I want to display the message not in a new screen. I want to display the message not in a new screen. I don't want to display the message on a new screen. I want to display the message. I want to display the message in the same screen. That means in the same page somewhere I want to display here. That means I am adding a div or I am adding a paragraph. In this paragraph, I want to display the message. So paragraph align is equal to center. And in this paragraph, I want to display the message. So, but paragraph, to access this paragraph, we can give one ID for paragraph. ID as MSG. That is the paragraph ID. Now, what we want to do is, so here I will write the logic in a new, fresh way. So the messages must be displayed in the paragraph. So first we need to access that paragraph. I will declare a variable here. So I will declare a variable MSG and the document dot get element by ID. So MSG. That means this is referring to the paragraph. You can give any variable name. I will just give P. So that is for paragraph. So I can give any, suppose para. Okay. So that means the para ID is MSG. We are accessing that para. And I am storing that in a variable called para. Okay. Now we will write here console. So where x is equal to confirm. So record. So are you sure want to delete this message? I am just roughly giving. And if x is equal to true, that means they selected OK. Then I want to display message inside that para. Now we can access that para. So the para, this is referring to paragraph. And generally in a paragraph, actually if it is a button, you will have value. If it is a text box, you will have value. If it is an image, you will have SRC. But if it is a paragraph, in a paragraph, how to display some text? We have to use inner HTML. We can use inner HTML, or we can also use inner text. We can use inner text. inner text or inner HTML. We can use inner text or inner HTML. What is difference between them? I will tell you. Inner text, I am saying that inner text I am displaying here as error. That means record deleted, record deleted, deleted. This message deleted. This message will come. Else, what should happen? Para.inner HTML is equal to cancelled, cancelled. This message will come. What is currently both will display same. Observe carefully here. I click on delete button. Are you sure want to delete? Okay. Then it says record deleted. In the paragraph it will show. I click on cancel. It says cancelled. Then what is difference between inner text and inner HTML? Inner HTML allows to display any message along with formats. That means, for example, I want to show cancelled in red color. Then I am writing here font color is equal to red and close the font. I am closing the font. Closing the font. So similarly, I want to display in green color. Then I am writing here font color is equal to green, green, and close the font. That means we are trying to apply the format. So font, we are trying to apply the format. I will save this now, and you can see here when I refresh, I click on delete. I click OK. That means record deleted, and that record deleted is displayed through inner text. Inner text is an RC data. It will not allow these elements. Then see what will happen when I click OK. It will display that font color. It will not apply the formats. But observe carefully, when I click cancel, I am showing through inner HTML. Inner HTML will allow those formats. It will show in red color. So what is difference between inner HTML and inner text? Inner HTML will allow the formats and inner text will not allow the formats. If you want to just display message without formats, then better use inner text. If you want to display by using effects, then inner HTML. So here I will change this to inner HTML. Inner HTML, and you can see that. So I click delete and click OK. That is green color. If I use inner text, then it will not allow those formats. It will not allow those formats. So it will display in this way. So if you want to display, you can display anywhere, not only paragraph. So you can see here, I am giving, instead of paragraph, I am giving heading 2. Instead of paragraph, I am giving heading 2. And that heading 2 have an ID MSG. Then you can see that message will be displayed in heading. The message will be displayed in heading style. You can display in a table cell, you can display, that means inner HTML. So inner text, these two things you can use for a div, you can use for a span, you can use for a paragraph, you can use for TD, you can use for DD, you can use for option. So you can use for option. Actually option have value, but it will allow inner HTML also to define. You can use for any container. You can use for like block quote. You can use for heading. That means any HTML element that supports presenting of text content. You can do inner HTML, inner text. But inner HTML will support the formats, inner text will not support the formats. That is important. There is another option, that is outer HTML. So outer HTML is a little bit different actually. So why? Because actually later for that some more points we have to learn, I will tell you. Actually observe carefully here, we go to inspect. So there is the body section. In the body section, heading is there. Heading and is MSG. I click delete. I click OK. then or cancel. In that heading, you can see font color cancelled message will come. So you can see the elements here. In the heading, it is displaying that font color here. Actually, suppose if I define, so this is heading. So, and here I am displaying not only just font color red. Suppose I am putting a paragraph here. I am placing a paragraph here. In a paragraph, I want to display /p. Generally, what happens is when I click on cancel now, when I click on delete, I click on cancel, and you can see in the heading that paragraph will be added. The paragraph will be added. Suppose I am using instead of inner HTML, I am using outer HTML. I am using outer HTML. What happens in outer HTML? See here, when I click on delete, I click on cancel, and you can see that outer HTML will replace that heading and put a paragraph. That means what is difference between inner HTML, outer HTML? Inner HTML will keep this heading and put this paragraph inside that heading. But when you give outer HTML, what will happen is it will replace this heading and put a paragraph. Without replacing, I want inside it. Then we have to use inner HTML. We have to use inner HTML. When I use inner HTML, observe, heading is there. I click on delete and cancel. Inside that heading, paragraph will be added. But if I give this as outer HTML, and you can see heading is there. I click on delete and cancel. Heading will be replaced with that paragraph. So that means you want to render inside or you want to render by replacing. It depends on your requirement. If you want to replace, then you have to use outer HTML. If you want to display inside, then you have to use inner HTML or inner text, right? So without replacing, inner HTML, inner text. By replacing, we have to use outer. So these are all the output functions in JavaScript. In how many ways you can present the output? Alert, confirm, document, write, console, inner HTML, inner text, outer HTML. Now the same we have to understand the input functions in JavaScript. Means how we can accept the input and use that input. Then we can create interactions and we can learn about the interactions. How input is managed in JavaScript. That we will see in our next session, right? Tomorrow we will see how the input is handled in JavaScript. Then we can start implementing in some examples also, right? Tomorrow we'll continue with that.